Hey everybody, this is John Lofton with Mixed Country 106 Studios and Loft in Space. I have been laying very low lately and I feel like I owe you guys just a bit of explanation. Also, just a tiny bit of bad news, but we'll get to that in just a minute. For the Loft in Space fans who are watching this, again wondering, why am I sharing Mixed Country 106? Well, I've been promising my Loft in Space fans a studio tour. Well, I kind of thought fans of both channels would kind of benefit from this or really enjoy this content. This is totally off the cuff. I'm even doing this on my cell phone. I don't even have my pro camera with me for this shoot. So I'm going to spin this thing around because y'all sure don't want to look at me for this whole thing. I know that for sure. So there we go. Oh, gotta get the lights on here too. The man cave, 24/7, all that. All right. Well, this is a studio of the Mixed Country 106 and Loft in Space Studios. Here we go. As you come in, now this is totally off the cuff. This is how it looks. I'm not going to show you guys like the pretty thing here. This is a functional studio, which means I have stuff laying around because, well, I actually do work in here every day. Sometimes I can spend as much as 8 to 10 hours just in this one room. So we built this space last year when we bought it. This actually was our basement, and we completely had this whole thing built in basically from concrete. Nothing but concrete walls and concrete floors, all the way to sound treatment. You can see the panels on the wall. They do a really nice job. The goal wasn't to make it so dead and you feel like you're in a shoebox. The goal was to get it to sound natural without a lot of reflectivity. The biggest challenge of that is we have glass doors. So that makes it a little bit tough. But let's go ahead and kind of go through everything here so you guys can see how this actually functionally works. So we'll start off with my Loft in Space fans' probably favorite place, the server closet. All of the wiring actually comes in from above. A bunch of runs go all through the house. We have our entire house wired with Cat 6A networking. And the exhaust has big fans up on the top, and it actually pulls the air because hot air rises, thankfully. And it actually, there's openings, you can't see it because it's very, very tight fit, that go into our exhaust vents for our home HVAC. So that way, this area does not get very hot. All of the hot air gets expelled out the top and into those return vents for the HVAC. Now, what I do sometimes is I will actually let some of that air vent back into my office in the wintertime right now because it actually keeps my space very warm. I have my actual HVAC vent closed because I can get enough heat out of this room to fill in the rest of the room without this overheating. I want all my nerds out there be like, you're letting your equipment overheat. No, I'm not. No, it does not get over safety temps. Every one of these pieces of equipment has safety sensors and things like that. And I will get notified if this should start overheating for whatever reason. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start at the bottom. One tool I thought I'd get a lot of use out is a disc duplicator. I like to use this, hope to use this for churches and things like that, especially this time of year, but believe it or not, even older churches, way more traditional, have kind of moved online. But I still like to have it around. You never know when you're going to need to do a bunch of disk duplication. We do have battery backup for our key systems here. Just a tool drawer. Most of my heavy lifting for all the applications you guys maybe access comes actually out of this box. An Ansel. But we do not use their software anymore. I have rooted this device down to its core, and we actually use Proxmox. We have 1 gig internet to the house. We have our network storage device. That's really been the backbone of all the storage and media files that we have. But like the Ansel, it does everything from Home Assistant to Plex to authentication. We have a reverse proxy or DNS server. Authentication server goes through there. The workhorse of my daily tasks comes from here. This is a custom built computer. We run, it's custom, but it does need updated because Windows 11, and this thing's probably about 4 years old now, getting close to it. Still runs great. I've replaced the RAM in it a few times, all that. Now for my Mixed Country 106 fans still engaged here, don't get too far out here. I'm getting to you guys, don't worry. I'm just giving some tech love to my Loft and Space fans here real quick. The graphics card is a GTX 1080 from MSI. And we have a Ryzen Threadripper 1950X in here. It's a 16 core processor. I'm probably going to go to the 2950X just so I can get Windows 11 compliant. I've tried the TPMI chip idea, it does not work. Most of the network also do not hate my cabling. There is a good reason I keep it like this. When I patch and I move stuff around, I did not want a patch panel. I just wanted to grab the cable, get it where I needed it to go. But everything runs basically off a UDM Pro, down there at the bottom, right above here. Security and all that good stuff too. We have a 48 port PoE switch. Above that, we do have 10 gigabit networking between the two devices, as well as 10 gig networking going to my computer. And then we have a 2 gigabit per second lag going from the NOS so that we can have plenty of storage throughout the whole home. Working our way above, we actually get to our media world. We have a big preamp here. This is actually for a vocal mic that sits in the den for when I'm actually singing or have people over who sing. It's a great preamp. I highly recommend getting these guys the Warm Audio. This is an amazing preamp. Oh my gosh, this thing is awesome. The Tone Beast, it is amazing. One of the best preamps you'll ever buy. Above that, we have our monitoring switch. This actually provides networking for our Ultranet system. We have a Behringer X32 producer that we run our mixer off of. And besides that, we have a mini matrix that basically takes one input in for video and sends it out to 4 of the devices. And then we have the big video matrix up above that. This takes 4 video in and can route it to any 4 video out, which you saw the monitors in there, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Nothing much above there, just some random odds and ends devices. We have 2 power conditioners. We have a big one up there. And then down below, you guys didn't really see it. This one's a much more stealth one, but we have another one down there too. When we wired this place, the electric was actually done very special. So you guys see the box of the blue tape going across. That silver box of the blue tape, I should say. So that actually has basically an extension cable that was hardwired into it to outlets that go to the studio monitors. So at the end of the night, I can just turn that off, off the power conditioner. Again, I wanted it cleaned up, and it goes directly to it. So those outlets are powered by this power conditioner up here. Kind of cool. Same with the subwoofer that's in there too. The data and audio breakers are 2 separate breaker systems. That's to cut down on EMI. Probably one of the best decisions. Does it make a huge difference in day-to-day work? Arguably, yes. Arguably, depends on your perspective. But I think it helps. I'm really glad we did it. We had to put electric in here anyway. It wasn't really a big cost difference. But the way we tell it in our office space, like what's just a normal outlet versus what's specialized. So all the ones that are normal, and we have passive vents here too for cables and all of that, but if it has just a regular faceplate on it, it's just a normal outlet. If you come up here and you see this with the black faceplate on, that means it's a specialized one. So the ones that are up high on either side of these walls, those are those, what I was talking about, runs to these basically extension cords. We do split those off, so there's outlets way down in the back corner. Just talk about a system. Finally had to get an office printer, an Epson not too long ago, but at the desk here, this is an X-Touch. This is just a remote control essentially for the DAW. I use Adobe Audition for editing a lot of production files. I do have a Stream Deck for my live stream, and also for home automation controls here, basically a big remote control. Of course, my Behringer P16 personal monitor, part of that rig that switch in there provides. And then I swing over here, this is the X32 producer. And you might think, well, a radio station, what? You got your computer and it does its own audio, what? You got 2 mics and all that. Why do you need 32 channels total of mixing? I'll tell you why. I actually only use about 12 during the mix. But when you're doing a live broadcast, what you find is you have two channels that you need for each of your main decks. So I have an A deck and a B deck in my automation software, which I use Sam Broadcaster. And I actually have this so that it actually can go to two different outputs. I use Dante, so I have a Dante virtual sound card, so everything is network, so it all goes out an Ethernet cable, and then the card in here sees that and it routes it to these channels. And then I do have different microphones. I have a primary broadcast mic, which is an SM7B. Oh my gosh, I almost want to call it an SM50. SM7B. Very quintessential microphone from Shure. A lot of podcasters use it. And then I've got several of these guys here, which are headset mics from Audio-Technica. I forget the model on them off the top of my head. They're kind of older now. But they, it's kind of like a backup, or depending on what I'm doing for the show. I try to use the SM7Bs primarily, but in a everyday kind of show, I will grab the headset down here. Now, the other thing that this kind of helps with, you know, I've got a headphone amplifier. Why do you need that if you got a personal monitor? Well, the headphone out on here actually goes into here, and then that way I can switch, because I actually have some inner monitors that I slip in my ears, and then sometimes I wear a headset. If I'm doing video and stuff like that, I do wear the in-ears, and then I use of course, the big broadcast microphone. If I'm just doing radio, I'll use my headset probably, and not doing anything video-wise. Now, a lot of this stuff over here is actually for my day job, for another company that I work for, but I do work from home. Has its benefits, you know, not having to go anywhere for work, and having an office space that's actually yours and custom, and not in some random cubicle, so I can have my own comfort in here while I'm doing calls and all that. And what studio would be complete without a big, gigantic broadcast clock? And this thing is actually on its dimmest setting right now. Here, I'll actually put it at what I call my broadcast brightness. For those who don't know, I actually am visually impaired. And so this is at its full brightness. And so I really need a big clock, so that way I can stay on time. I know I've got a clock on my computer, but a lot of times I've got applications up, and the little system clock's very tiny. It's easier and faster for me to look up and see this giant clock over here, which does have a temperature thing and all that, so I don't have to just have it on the time, but it's really helpful just to, oh, there was one brightness higher. There we go. And then it goes back down to dim. But yeah, there was, it's just helpful for me to have this. The closet, I'm not going to show you. I hope to have used it one day for a mic booth. Right now, it is storage. I can't show you guys in there. I got my little boy. He's sleeping right now. But we got it all set up for Christmas. And for the Loft and Space fans, I'll probably show you guys the movie theater. It is a full home theater setup. We got two big two JBL front left and right speakers in there. I love JBL, if y'all can't tell. My monitors, they're all JBLs. Those are the 305s, in case anybody's wondering. I'm going to be trading this out. My wife got me a new subwoofer for my birthday. I just don't like this one. It's a little too much for me, and I don't particularly care for the dexterity that it gives. So I'm going to be trading this out for the matching JBL subwoofer, but she thought she'd have me try Presonus out for their Trembler T10s. Now, a lot of people like them. Little much for me. I like bass, don't get me wrong, but it needs to blend well with my setup, and that one I've tried everything to tune it. Anyway, moving on. Oh, you guys notice over here, this is where producer Raven sits. She's usually on the laptop keeping track of the live stream. What's cool is, you know, because you actually stream up, so she can see the multi-view of OBS, and I'll go ahead and bring that up so you guys can see what OBS looks like. I don't have Sam Broadcaster set up really in any kind of, I don't know, meaningful way to show you guys. But what's cool is if on my Stream Deck I kind of go back out to my root folder, hit OBS, and then down here I've got a button, and I can directly launch it. And it launches here, so I keep that screen there. I do have multi-broadcasts out, so that's a nice little plug-in. And this is the multi-view. And then from in here, I can basically switch to pre-show, and I'll mute it just so I can do that for you. So I can just hit the pre-show, and you guys can see the last one I did. I haven't done anything since, but it shows the countdown clock and the security cam up there. I just using basically an RTMP stream, and I just pipe that in so you guys can see what's going on there, the little graphic overlay and all that. Did a little holiday action that show. And then I can just switch it. My camera's not on. And the reason it overlays like that, and in the video you guys can see, normally I have a Chroma Screen, which is in there from Elgato, and I can just lay it across the floor going across here, and you guys probably notice these big lights here. Well, not super big, but they are stupid bright lights. I get a headache if I keep them on too long. Also, it also keeps the room warm. But this is what I see when I'm doing my live stream, and I'm gonna have to balance this and Sam Broadcaster. But yeah, this is basically what I see, and I can go between different views and all that here. And then I was telling you guys about the matrix. Well, so if you look, that screen and that screen mirror. I can switch these to whatever one I want, so I can have security. Let me see. I know I've got a media one. So we'll switch here. There we go. So like if I just had a media player, that goes from the NOS I've got. Some of you guys might recognize that. And then I do have it where I can just directly mirror whatever's on my primary screen. But I can switch on both of them with a little remote control here. And then same thing up there. I can do exactly the same thing. So if I, on the other one, hit it, it'll blink for a minute, and then brings it up. Yeah, so it's really neat. The flexibility and the routing that we can do here throughout the whole home is really neat. Really something that I'm proud of. I'm glad it works reliably. But then, likewise, whatever is on this display here actually mirrors what Raven sees. So she doesn't have to look up there. We can have two separate things, all around. It really comes in handy, because then she has an idea, especially with this one, what I may be going to or going back to. And so sometimes she can even get in my ear and be like, honey, you're out of focus, or your chroma showing off the edge, and then I can adjust. It's sometimes seems a little bit challenging, but having someone in your ear, once you get used to it, and she knows how to talk to me now, like she knows to keep her words very short in my ear, because otherwise she will distract me. You guys know that sometimes she'll say something and I'll just pause. Like, what, Raven? What, honey? Anyway, but now she's getting better about just saying like one or two words like chroma's off, and that's all I need to hear. And it doesn't usually have me lose too much. You guys think of like broadcast anchors and all that. Same thing. They have to have people in their ear even on air. They try not to, but it happens. But yeah, no, this is basically the setup here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can show you guys before I have to give some of the bad news. Boo. I don't think so. We are working on the Mixed Country 106 website. I guess I can give you guys a little sneak peek at the design. I have not written a lot of content for it, but I will do my best to show you guys some stuff here. We'll see if it'll load. Yeah, here we go. So this is the back end. And we're going to have schedule. These are just dummy episodes. We're still working on like the footer and all that, but generally this is kind of how it's going to work. The latest thing that I've been getting done is the contact us page. I finally gave up because I really wanted something that I could integrate and keep track of all the contact submissions and keep it organized, and I didn't find anything native to WordPress, so we're going to go through a service called JotForm. And I like this just because it looks so neat. When you go in, you just see this, and it just blends so well with the site, the rest of it. But yeah, we just got this page done. Still working on that, but it's going to be neat, guys. I'm so happy. The mobile version is going to look just as cool. Hopefully the app will as well. I'm debating if I'm going to have a player down here, and I may or may not be able to do that for some legality reasons, because as some of you know, we're probably going to go through Live 365 for stream, and that's just for copyright licensing. We got to pay royalties and stuff. So the challenge with that is I have to be under their domain then. So all the stuff has to go through them. But it has benefits. We do ad revenue sharing. They've got that feature. And hopefully we'll get big enough where I can just have my own licensing and I won't need them and be completely on my own. That's always the goal. But financially right now, it doesn't make sense. Like royalty licensing to get everything that we would need be like $5,000 a year to pay for royalties. And station our size, we just don't got it. You know, internet radio is not something you're going into for the money. It just isn't. Internet radio is just something you do for the passion, and you hope you break even. But hopefully we'll get some nice exposure, some things that are going to help us out. One thing that we are super proud of, and I'm so happy that it worked out for us. We got our membership into the Texas Country Music Association and the Texas Christian Music Association. So what that does for us is it gives us access to the latest news. It does give us the chance to vote for their album of the year and things like that. It gives us the opportunity possibly to network with some of the artists, maybe get some interviews, maybe. Hopefully, I would love that if we could use that as a networking platform to meet some of the artists and attract their attention from Texas up here to Iowa. That's right, we are based out of Iowa, and there's not really any Texas country music radio stations in Iowa. Now, I realize I've got a big uphill battle. You know, I'm internet, FM is FM, but you never know. Social media is a powerful thing. So if you guys are enjoying this and you're excited for Texas country music, please, 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 please like and subscribe and share this video. Share the daylights out of it. Especially, you know, getting this, if you're from the Midwest and Iowa and you really want to have this content around, and you got buddies, you know, who are all excited for this stuff, please share it with them. I guarantee you we can make this thing take off like a rocket. I've got plenty of experience running internet radio stations. I'd been doing it for 6-7 years before we had to turn it off. I tried to start it as a nonprofit licensing. You guys can go check out the other videos on the Loft and Space channel to find out what happened with all that. But anyway, this time we are for profit. We hope to make a little money off of it, but we know we're not going to get rich. The biggest thing for us, and we will not compromise, is the music. Now, here comes the bad news. I have been advertising on the site for January 10th for a big launch party. Well, I got about 3 things right now that are going to push that date back, unfortunately. Number 1, Christmas. I am heavily involved with my church. Church and family are some of the biggest priorities you have. They come before business even. I make enough money with my day job. You know, like I said, Mixed Country 106 right now. It's going to be an expensive hobby, I think, for a little bit. Before it becomes a self-sustaining business. And that's fine with me for a little while. Like I said, I got enough money with my day job. You know, we're not hurting for money like that. That's not what this venture is. But church and all that is so important to our family. God and Christians and should be focusing on church and family. That should be like the number 1 and 2 things. God, the church, and family, almost in that order. I think it's church, or God, your family, then church, and then your friends. That, to me, that's kind of my priority scale. And so because of that, I'm a tech guy. So guess what I get to do a lot of during this time of year? We got our big Christmas service coming up, and I'm just getting the technical details ready for a 21 performance service for Sunday night. It's going to be a good time, but it means it's been taking a lot of my time. I haven't been able to build on the site this past few days, and Sundays are all filled up. And number 2, second reason we're kind of getting delayed here is I need artists. I need artists. I need interviews. I'm not going to launch this thing without a big kickoff party, and I've been trying to book some people. So if you got some hookups, those who are watching, especially if Texas Country Music Association, you guys know some people who may want to do an interview with us, help us out, get some exposure, hey, we're open for it. I would love it. Nothing more than that. Um, so that's kind of what's going on. And I think the third thing is just the website is definitely taking a long time to build. It's way more challenging because you've got music, you got shows, you've got the podcast portion of it, you've got your YouTube integrations part of it, and it sounds kind of simple on the surface until you really dive into it. And you got to make everything branding. Like, even with that contact form, I spent several hours just getting the email template to match the color scheme, to get all the logos to look right inside of it, and it just takes time. And especially when it's just me. My producer Raven, my wife, she is so great at keeping me organized and helping me time manage, but at the end of the day, it's still me who's doing all the coding, all the sourcing, all of it. It is a one-man band basically when it comes to actual operating this thing. And on top of that, with my Loft space, I've got phone clients, I got web clients, I've got those people that I have to take care of. You know, they're my paying customers right now. I can't put this necessarily ahead of that when there's no money coming in right now on it. So you got to take care of the sources that you are making money on. Which leads me to my last point. You guys see that I do all this. If you're in need of IT consulting, just for the Loft and Space folks, hit me up. I'm happy to help. Uh, if you want your own studio, absolutely can offer you some sound advice and consulting for that. So hit me up, lofton.space, and I would love to chat with you guys. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. This video kind of got long enough as is. You guys know I love to talk. That's why I'm in radio, and I got a voice and a face just for radio. Good sounding voice, but I ain't much to look at on camera. Sorry, guys. But nevertheless, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. God bless, and have a very, very Merry Christmas from the Lofton family to yours.